Welcome to day 148 of the New Way. I'll reread John 7, 1 through 10. After this, Jesus went around in Galilee. He did not want to go about in Judea because the Jewish leaders there were looking for a way to kill him. But when the Jewish festival of tabernacles was near, Jesus' brothers said to him, "Leave Galilee and go to Judea, so that your disciples there may see the works you do. No one who wants to become a public figure acts in secret. Since you are doing these things, show yourself to the world." For even his own brothers did not believe in him. Therefore Jesus told them, "My time is not yet here. For you any time will do. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me, because I testify that its works are evil. You go to the festival. I am not going to this festival, because my time has not yet fully come." After he had said this, he stayed in Galilee. However, after his brothers had left for the festival, he went also, not publicly, but in secret. Oswald Chambers wrote that you will never be considered more inconsistent than when you are following Jesus. He also wrote that if you can explain why you are doing something, it probably isn't from God. I like reading Oswald Chambers' My Utmost for His Highest daily, because he really challenges me to think deeply. Jesus has just told his brothers that he would not be going to the festival because it was not God's timing. And now he is going. Do you think he deliberately lied to his brothers? I don't, because that would be sinful. Do you think Jesus was confused about what God's will was? I don't, because I think he made it a point to always be in tune with God's will. I believe he's just following God one step at a time. I believe that Jesus was being totally obedient to everything that he knew about God's will when he told his brothers that he was not going to the festival that day. I believe he told his brothers the absolute truth. But when the Holy Spirit told him to go, he obeyed. Many times we hesitate to obey because changing our minds would make us look bad. When we were praying about whether we should move to Florida, we spent several weeks talking about it, praying about it, and asking for God's direction. We felt very sure that God was calling us to stay in California and serve there for 3 to 5 more years. So we told people that we were ready to dig in and take on some new responsibilities. I agreed to teach and lead some groups. But then less than a week after we made our decision public, God made it crystal clear that he had other plans for us. Why? Did we get it wrong the first time? Maybe. Or maybe that was just the way God wanted it to be. Sometimes God takes us on a step-by-step journey that doesn't make sense to us. But if we are obedient, we will end up at the right place. Don't try to second-guess God. When you hear God speak, obey. Don't worry if it makes you look wrong or inconsistent. Here's another example of following God's direction. I'll read 1 Kings 17, 1 through 6. Now Elijah, the Tishbite from Tishbe in Gilead, said to Ahab, "As the Lord, the God of Israel lives, whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years, except at my word." Then the word of the Lord came to Elijah, "Leave here, turn eastward, and hide in the Kerith ravine, east of the Jordan. You will drink from the brook, and I have directed the ravens to supply you with food there." So he did what the Lord had told him. He went to the Kerith ravine, east of the Jordan, and stayed there. The ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the brook. So God told Elijah the prophet to go to a certain brook. Was he obedient? Yes. He went, and God fed him and provided him with water. Sweet arrangement. Then what happened? I'll read 1 Kings 17, 7 through 9. Sometime later, the brook dried up because there had been no rain in the land. Then the word of the Lord came to him, "Go at once to Zarephath in the region of Sidon and stay there. I have directed a widow there to supply you with food." Now the perfect little retreat became a dangerous place out in the middle of the desert. The brook dried up, but God had a plan. Do you think that God knew that that brook would dry up? Certainly. Like I said, sometimes we don't understand God's plans, but if we'll just obey and keep trusting, He'll take us where He wants us to be. Elijah's next order was to go to Zarephath, and there Elijah was able to do a miracle that saved at least 3 people's lives: the widow, her son, and Elijah. I believe that God placed Elijah in a place so that he could rest and pray and be refreshed before He sent him into ministry again. Or maybe the widow wasn't ready to be helped yet. Or we don't know God's reasoning. We need to learn to trust that He knows what is best. Following Jesus day by day and step by step is a wonderful adventure. When your brook dries up, listen. In His service, Dale.